I tell you what, when people want to learn how to paint, what's the first thing they want to learn how to paint? A sunset sky. What a coincidence, it's also the hardest thing to paint.
Tune in for Patrick Ching's Painting in Paradise.
Aloha, I'm Patrick Ching, and thank you for joining me on Painting in Paradise. In this episode, we'll get to learn about sunsets and why we love them so much. We'll also get to know about a bird often seen at sunset time, Hawaii's black-crowned night heron called the ʻAukuʻu. I'll show you how to draw the ʻAukuʻu and paint the sunsets. All this and more on a spectacularly radiant episode of Painting in Paradise! For art, gifts, and lessons, visit patrickching.com. A very distinctive bird that is often seen at sunset time is the black-crowned night heron called the ʻAukuʻu. This large bird often flies across the sunsets into its nighttime roosting sites. When they fly at night, they often make a loud squawking call. The ʻAukuʻu is indigenous to Hawaii, meaning it occurs here naturally, but is also native to other places as well. You may see it around wetland areas and marshes as it hunts for food. Young birds are brown and white, and the adults become gray with black backs and heads, giving them their common name of black-crowned night heron. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how I would go about drawing a black-crowned night heron called the ʻAukuʻu. You ready? You ready? You ready? Everybody ready? Okay. Now you know I like to start off by forming things up and pressing softly. How we're going to press? Softly. So the first thing I'm going to do is put the shape of the body kind of in the middle of the page here. And I'm going to, kind of like a teardrop shape or an oval with a point on it. That's going to be the body part, yeah? And the head, I'll give him a head right around here. And on the head is attached the beak. Yeah? They got a nice big beak, a little bit curved on the top. You know, we'll just get a vague shape of it right now. And now you see our ʻAukuʻu starting to form up. Now another thing I'm going to put on here is the wings and the tail, okay? I'm going to take another shape just like that, an oval with a point on it, and put the wings a little higher than that. And the tail is kind of like an egg shape. I'm just going to put the tail right around there. And already you can see our ʻAukuʻu starting to form up. Now the next thing I'm going to do is put the legs in. And he's got quite long legs, and I got a short little distance over here, so I'm going to make them a little crunched here like that. And the first one is going to have like a long drumstick. Don't tell him I said that, but it's like, you know, like a long thigh, yeah? That's a little oval there. And that will be attached to kind of a long part of the leg. And you notice that I just use ovals and things, yeah? The toes, kind of 3 long ones plus a claw. I'm going to put another long oval there. I'm not worried that it overlaps. And this one, the long part of the leg will come there, and I'll make them standing on the ground over there. Kind of like 3 toes there and 1 claw in the back, okay? I'll just put myself the little circle for the eye over there, or the maka, yeah, that'll be about there, and the pupil in there. I'll just kind of do a little bit of an attachment there. And I'm looking at him, I'm saying, yeah, I can see an ʻAukuʻu coming out of this. Okay, so from here I'm going to start to kind of make a little more details, like, you know, I'll put his chest come out a little bit. I'll put a little jaga over here under the tail. Now, he got some markings. The beak is going to be a bit like that. The markings, like he got some black markings on his head, you know, right up to the eye there. On the crown, black crown night heron, you know. It's the crown, he's got a black part over there. And he's even got a big patch of black right there on the wing, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and color these things. Help me remember that they're black. I'm going to give them some color right now. That's just to help me remember, hey, don't forget that these things are black, yeah? Alright. The beak will have a little nostril. And now you see my black crowned night heron starting to take shape. They have these like two streamer-like feathers on the back of their head. They're white, long feathers. I'm going to go ahead and put them in there now, and we can work around them. But they come right out here. One can go like that, and another one I'm going to put kind of up here, a little bit in the wind, you know, flying in the wind. From here, I'm going to actually go and do the rest of him in more of a detailed stage with a bigger pen, okay? Okay, so now with my bigger pen, I am going to finish up the details, and I can still adjust sizes and things, like maybe his beak might be a slight big, you know, so I'm just going to go and make it a little smaller. I'm going to swoop the line of the head up here. Bottom of the beak to the bottom of the neck to the chest, and I'll stop right there. I'm going to give a little bit of an overlap right there. And remember that he had a little bit of a drumstick. Kind of put some feathers here and kind of tell you, the viewer, which part is in front of what, okay? And here's the toes. Remember, there's a little bit of a kind of a back claw there. Now the other leg, I'll start from behind, and I'm really conscious to tell the viewer which one is in front of which. Okay, what leg is in front of what? Okay, continuing to do the leg part there and the toes. Alright, give them a little bit toenails. I know they like to grab things with those toenails. Okay, the maca. Oh, I love to put the maca in. That's just a nice big circle and a nice big dot for the pupil. I'll start to shape up the beak, even the nostril, and the middle line of the beak right there. Okay, it's a good time also to remember the parts of the bird that are black. The crown, the black crown, this part on top of the wings. Now for the wings, I'm going to give them some rows of feathers. Okay. And then I'll start to give them some of these long, like primary feathers, you know, they're going to come out like that. So get used to looking at birds and understanding their rows of feathers. So back here is the part that's kind of above the tail. I'll start to shape up a tail like this. Give some lines for those tail feathers. And right under the tail is going to be kind of like a little jaga, okay? Tell you what, I'll give them a little bit of jagas back here. And that will show people what is in front of what. Oh, maybe I'll just have them, you know, on a rock over here with some grass. Some blades of grass, that's fun. I'll tell you what, I'll have some water in the background. I'll put the water right around there, the water line. Maybe that's a little marsh or a lake. I'll put the sun right around right there. And I'll just kind of make some rings around it, you know. And a little reflection in the water. I'll give a little shadow on the bird, you know, especially down below. Under there, a little bit under the wing. And I'll go back and get some of the dark wings dark again. Get his black crown blacker. And maybe even give a little shading in the beak. You know, the beak is kind of black too. Give a little bit of shadow on this back leg here. I'll just put that in the shadow a little bit, telling the viewer that that one is behind. And finally, I'll just give him a little hint of that, one of those white streamer feathers up there. And there you have it, the black crowned night heron known as ʻAukuʻu. When we return, I'll show you how to paint the sunset. For art, gifts, and lessons, visit patrickching.com. Aloha! Today we'll be painting a sunset, and I'll show you how I painted this sunset, starting in the back with the rainbow in the sky. We're going to need some lessons on the color wheel. We got to refer back to what we learned about color, how color moves. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. Okay? Because those rainbow of colors always go in a certain pattern, and a sunset sky is just like painting a rainbow in the sky. Okay, so I'm mixing 2 piles of paint, a light, kind of an aqua greenish color, and I'm mixing I would call it a medium phthalo blue and white combination. Okay, so right now the first thing I'm doing is just laying down some paint. I'm using phthalo blue and white, and that's my next color. Oh yeah, I just love putting color down. Okay, you see me pulling this blue color down into the lighter greenish color, yeah? And a long gradation fades very slowly. And I tell you what, people love to see those. I want the bottom of my sky to be quite light. You know, remember it has a greenish tinge in there. Later on, I'm going to fade it down to a sunset of yellow and orange and red. As we go up, it's going to get purpler. Okay? Alrighty, I'm going to take my purplish blue color and I'm going to paint the rest of it there. Now, I don't want to bring this purple too far down the painting. I don't want it to start to go into the green. Okay, keep that in mind. And remember, a sunset sky, I tell you what, when people want to learn how to paint, what's the first thing they want to learn how to paint? A sunset sky. What a coincidence. It's also the hardest thing to paint. It forces us to get to know our complementary colors, because that's what makes sunsets so beautiful. Opposite colors placed in front of each other, next to each other, okay? They cause excitement. Orange against blue. Yeah, pink against green. Oh boy, sunset sky is nothing like it. So I got my base of my sunset sky in a nice gradation, except it has all these crosshatch patterns, yeah? We use those crosshatch patterns to kind of distribute paint gradually from one color to another. This is a good brush to kind of blend them together, and I'm just going to start at the bottom, work my way to the top with a series of strokes that go all the way across the canvas, okay? You're just moving up a little bit. And I tell you what, look at what's happening. We're getting a nice gentle fade from one color to another. Now we're getting all of those crosshatch patterns out of there. And it's quite seamless, you know. Once it's thoroughly dry, we're going to come back and do some glazing. Now glazing is just putting transparent layers over already dried layers, okay? So glazing is a technique. Don't think of it as a thing. Think of it as a technique. I know it's not a donut. Glazing is not a donut. Whatever the oil that your oil paint is made out of, that's what you're going to put in this sponge and wipe a microscopic layer of it onto your canvas. Alright, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take my lower sky and start to turn it yellower for the sunset, even orange, and then I'm going to put my clouds in it, okay? So I am going to take a little bit of yellow and a little bit of white here. Our challenge here, and it might be the hardest part of this sunset, is to fade off this yellow into our light aqua green before it starts to hit the blue. Okay, I'm going to get a little bit of orange and add it to that wet yellow. I'm going to take my lower part of my brush and go right across the bottom, and then carefully I'm going to fade my orange into the yellow without bringing the orange too high at first, okay? So I'm trying to fade this sky like a rainbow. Purple, blue, green, yellow, orange, even red. And I'll get it even a darker reddish orange down below. So I'll add some, I'm just going to get some chicken head red over here. You know, I'm going to add it to my full strength orange. And I'm going to put that right down there at the bottom of my sunrise. Right across the bottom. Oh yeah. Oh. I like to use those kung fu sounds on my paintings. Okay, and I'll make a little kind of a sphere or a globe of sunrise in there. Let everybody know this is where the sun's coming from. So we're not just working linear anymore. You know what I mean? We're not just going up and down fading. Now we're fading from a ball in the middle, fading out also. Okay, remember I said everybody who wants to learn how to paint wants to learn how to paint a sunset? And I also said, isn't that funny? It's like the hardest thing to paint. It is. Hardest, most rewarding, and the thing you're going to learn the most from. I tell you what, when you pull it off, you're going to have a lot of people want your painting in their house. Okay, so I've put an intense area of yellow in there, and now I'm going to put pretty much area of almost white with a little bit of yellow. So it's going to be quite a bright area, kind of indicating to the viewer that, yeah, the sun is right there. Sunsets are wild. They put colors all over the place, and that's why they're so spectacular. You can put oranges here next to the blues. You know that orange and blue are opposite colors, yeah? They're complementary colors. They make each other look good. So what we're going to do right now is put some more clouds in here, and I'll get combinations of oranges, yellows. It might be nice to start with some orange clouds here. You see this nice orange cloud I just put in there? Wouldn't it be nice if we lit up the bottom of it with a yellow, because the sun is kind of hitting it right there? So I'm going to get some yellow mixed with a little bit of white, and I'm going to kind of light up the bottom of that cloud. You can dissipate the edges. The edges we don't want sharp. We want them kind of soft. Not sharp like a razor sharp edge. We like the clouds to be soft, okay? Actually, to me, painting is all about being aware. It's about noticing stuff that other people don't notice, that most of humanity don't notice. Okay, an artist is going to try harder to notice these things. I tell you what, I'm going to start to get some magenta clouds up there. You'll notice when you put them down heavy, you keep that magenta color. The more you thin it out and it mixes with the blue, the more brown it gets. And that's okay too. So when you get to a point, you'll be doing more instinctual painting. You don't even have to explain it. You don't know how to explain it. You're just doing it because, you know, it's making you feel good. I then went on to paint the reflections of the sky on top of the ocean. I hope you had a great time learning about how to build a sunset, and I'll see you in the next lesson. When we return, I'll take a knife to my painting. For art, gifts, and lessons, visit patrickching.com. You may be wondering if painting sunsets is the same as painting sunrises. My answer to this is yes. I go about painting them the same way. If you're a keen observer, you may notice that the morning air is usually a bit hazier because all of the moisture that covered the earth from the night before is evaporating. This moist air reflects the colors around it a bit more than the clearer air from a day that's winding down. Sometimes I get so amazed by the things that I see that I just want to pick up a knife. A palette knife, that is. This is a process of applying the paint with a knife to the palette. The paint comes out much thicker than if you were to apply it with a brush. Often if I'm doing a palette knife painting, I'll use a combination of palette knife and brush as well. When you're knife painting, you're actually sculpting with paint. People love it because the paint casts shadows onto the canvas and makes the canvas look really rich. Thank you for joining me on Painting in Paradise. I hope you like learning about sunsets and night herons. If you'd like to learn more of my techniques, they're available online at www.patrickching.com. Aloha!
Oh, I love it.